Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Lumio Station.
Hello everyone, this is Trickywi, but you can call me Tricky, and welcome to episode 3 of my top 10 series here on Lumio Station. Last time, I covered the top 10 most useful Pokemon for real life. Be sure to check that out whenever you get the chance, and please check out the other conductors as well. One more thing, don't forget to vote for next week's countdown. The choices will be revealed shortly, but if you have any other ideas, feel free to list them down below too. So today I'll be doing something special because it's getting closer to Halloween, and last week I got the most votes for the top 10 most gruesome Pokédex entries. Well, I wanted to cover more things, so obviously by the title, today's countdown will be the top 20 most creepiest Pokédex entries. You may or may not agree with this list since my own opinion is mixed along with it, but please list the Pokemon who you think has the creepiest Pokédex entry in the comments below. Everyone is afraid of something different, so just have fun with it. Let's kick it off with our honorable mentions. Every Pokemon from the top 10 most hostile Pokemon from Kanto. They all had some pretty gruesome Pokédex entries. And I don't like recycling Pokemon, so if you haven't seen this video yet, I really recommend that you go watch it. I think I may have cheated just a little bit, but oh well. With all that out the way, let's get started. At number 20, we have Creepiest. To be completely honest, this Pokemon doesn't look like it would be dangerous, but its Pokédex entry definitely goes against that. It ensnares prey with its 8 tentacles. It then melts the prey with a strong acid before feeding. Oh, that's lovely. So it wraps little thingies around you, and then it melts you alive. That's not cool. But of course, this Pokemon really isn't that big of a threat in the Pokemon world, considering that this is a fossil Pokemon, so I suppose that's a good thing they went extinct. Moving on to number 19, we have Cubone. I'm pretty sure if anybody has looked up Creepiest Pokédex entries, Cubone has been on there somewhere. And I'm pretty sure that everybody is familiar with its Pokédex entry. It wears the skull of its dead mother on its head. When it becomes lonesome, it is said to cry loudly. That's really depressing. Don't get me wrong, that is extremely creepy, but I find it more sad than scary. And what freaks me out the most is that there's a lot of Cubones, and they're all wearing their dead mother on its head. Why are there so many? Do they kill their mother? I know that Team Rocket killed them in the game. I feel so bad for Cubone. Okay, now I'm sad. Let's move on. Moving on to number 18, we have Victory Bell. In the Pokemon show, this Pokemon is extremely hilarious. In my opinion, this Pokemon has always freaked me out, but its dex entry does not sound pleasant at all. This horrifying plant Pokemon attracts prey with aromatic honey, then melts them in its mouth. I honestly cannot imagine being melted alive. That is the most unfortunate death ever. Can you imagine being stuck head first in its mouth and just being melted? No. Moving on to number 17, we have Gothitelle. I didn't expect this Pokemon to have a creepy Pokédex entry, but its Pokédex entry is both depressing and extremely creepy. They can see trainers' lifespans. When it learns its trainer's lifespan, it cries in sadness. This is like some Death Note Shinigami crap going on right here. To a lot of people, death is absolutely terrifying. And could you even imagine being around somebody that you love and seeing their lifespan? When you first think about it, it doesn't really sound that bad, but if you actually put yourself in those shoes and to imagine when somebody is actually going to die, you would constantly just be waiting for it. That is torturous, in my opinion. Moving on to number 16, we have Spiritomb. I know this is random, but I honestly wish that its shiny form was its regular form because its shiny form is beautiful. But anyway, this Pokemon has a very interesting Pokédex entry. It was formed by combining 108 spirits. It was bound to a fissure in an old keystone as punishment for misdeeds 500 years ago. I actually want to know what this thing did, but it's honestly crazy to think about that this Pokemon is actually 108 evil spirits combined. But the creepiest thing to me is that somebody actually fused them together. Someone had to have done that. And that sounds like some freaky ritual stuff. So, what the freaking crap, dude? Taking our number 15 spot is Parasitic. This Pokemon looks so happy, but it's really not. The bug host is drained of energy by the mushrooms on its back. They appear to do all the thinking. If any of you guys are familiar with me, you guys know how I feel about Parasitic. I've spoken about Parasitic before. This Pokemon is basically a zombie. I like to compare it with the game The Last of Us because their zombie outbreak was due to an evil fungus thing. Parasitic is the Pokemon equivalent to that. While it's a Paras, the little mushrooms on its back eventually spreads across its body, and it sucks the life out of it until it undergoes its transformation to Parasitic, which is a lifeless host. That sucks, dude. Moving on to number 14, we have Hypno. I'm sure most of you were expecting Hypno to be on here somewhere. This Pokemon is basically the Predator Pokemon. Due to its creepypasta stories and its Pokédex entry, this Pokemon is feared by a lot of people. It carries a pendulum-like device. There is once an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. Why would you do that? Why? Moving on to number 13, we have Gorbis. I've never really been a fan of this Pokemon, and I really don't even like its Pokédex entry because I felt the need to insert the word pretty 3 times in this one. Wow. It stabs people with its mouth, and then it drains the body fluids of its prey. That is messed up. Of course, Gorbis is based off of a mermaid. It will fool people with its beauty, even though I don't think it's pretty at all. And then it will kill them. How charming. Taking our number 12 spot is Cofagrigus. Everything about this Pokemon is creepy. It has been said that they swallow those who get too close and turn them into mummies. Do you know the process of becoming a mummy? Mummification requires them to take out all your internal organs, pull out your brains, and all kinds of really bad things. And to think that this Pokemon would do this to you while you're alive. To be juiced by this Pokemon does not sound nice in the slightest. Plus, if you're claustrophobic, that would be terrible to be stuck in there. Moving on to number 11, we have Honedge. If anyone dares to grab its hilt, it wraps a blue cloth around that person's arm and drains that person's life energy completely. This thing doesn't even give you a chance. If you grab it, it's gonna kill you. That is really unfortunate. Moving on to number 10, we have Shedinja. You really wouldn't expect something that had a halo to be completely dangerous, but this Pokemon would end you. Shedinja is a discarded bug shell that came back to life. If you peer into the crack on its back, it will steal your soul. I don't know if it destroys your soul, or it eats it, or your soul gets trapped in its shell for all eternity. Obviously, all 3 are bad, but as long as you don't look in there, I'm sure you'll be fine. But I'm too curious, so I'll probably die. At number 9, we have Bannet. They are said to live in garbage dumps and wander around in search of the children that threw them away. Strong feelings of hatred turn this puppet into a Pokemon. If it opens its mouth, its cursed energy escapes. Well, that's unfortunate because it's always opening its mouth. Hatred is a very powerful thing, and to have something vengeful chasing after you is not good. And this Pokemon has a Mega Evolution, so not only is it angry, it's very powerful. It will destroy you. It would kill you, but it's still an awesome Pokemon. I'm so conflicted right now. Taking our number 8 spot is Gourgeist. It enwraps its prey in its hair-like arms. It sings joyfully as it observes the suffering of its prey. What is wrong with this thing? Why would it do that? That is pretty dark in my opinion. And then if you hear it singing, you get cursed. So either way, you're screwed. At number 7, we have Glalie. After immobilizing its foe in ice, this Pokemon enjoys eating it in a leisurely fashion. If it completely froze its prey, like if they were dead and then it did it, but it just immobilizes its foe. So it's still alive and it just eats it slowly. That is so mean. At least its Megaform has a broken jaw, so I guess that makes it a little better. Moving on, we have Phantump. At first glance, this ghost Pokemon is extremely adorable, but it's Pokédex entry. It always has to mess that up. According to old tales, these Pokemon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest. These cute little Pokemon are human children who died. Why? Nintendo, what are you doing? And it makes me wonder how humans are able to transform into Pokemon after they die. What causes that? Seriously, leave your opinions on how that happens in the comments below, because I'm actually really curious about what you guys think about that. Moving on to number 5, we have Kabutops. Anything that is capable of chopping you up is not good. It slices its prey with its sharp sickles and drinks the body fluids. This Pokemon is pretty hostile as well, so it wouldn't think twice about doing it either. Again, this is another fossil Pokemon, so it's probably a good thing that they're extinct. But in any case, chopping up anything and then drinking its fluids? Nah. At number 4, we have Dusknoir. According to several Pokédex entries, it has the ability to send people to the underworld, or the spirit world, or any kind of world that you like to associate death with. If a Dusknoir does not like you, you're out of luck. Pretty much the entire evolution line of Dusknoir is pretty messed up. Duskull likes to make children cry, and it would do everything it can in order to hear children crying. That's not nice. And Dusclops is basically emptiness, so if you get too close, it could suck you in forever, and that's not cool either. but the power that Dusknoir has over human life is ridiculous. If Dusknoir and Darkrai joined forces, that would be the end of the world. Moving on to number 3, we have Chandelure. The spirits burned up in its ominous flames lose their way and wander this world forever. That sucks. The flames that Chandelure possess are souls. And basically, its evolution line leads up to this. I mean, Lampid just waits in hospitals waiting for people to die, and then it will steal their soul. There's not even any indication that they target bad people or even innocent people. It's undetermined, and that is scary. But in any case, having your spirit burnt up and being forced to wander this world forever, that's messed up. At number 2 is Yamask, or Yamask, or I don't freaking know. At first glance, this Pokemon looks really cute, but nope. Each of these Pokemon carries a mask that used to be its face when it was human. Sometimes they look at it and cry. Obviously, the one in the picture is a default looking face, but can you imagine being a Yamask and just looking at your face forever? That is terrifying. I still want to know why humans become Pokemon in the first place. And of course, I could kind of go back with Chandelure's Pokédex entry. Maybe the people that Chandelure forces to wander the world become certain ghost Pokemon. Of course, it's just speculation, but in any case, this Pokemon is terrifying. And the fact that it just looks at its face and cries, that's so dark and no. So before I reveal number 1, don't forget to vote or to list what countdown you would like to see next. Also be sure to list the top 5 Pokemon who creep you out the most and why in the comments below. Have fun with it. So taking our number 1 spot is Yveltal. When this Pokemon's life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more. Obviously in Pokemon X and Y, they couldn't actually have a thing kill off everything. Of course, there was some death in it, but this Pokemon is literally the Pokemon of death. This Pokemon has the ability of killing everything. And that goes for plants too! Plants are a living thing! It has no mercy. It's a good thing that Yveltal sleeps for 1,000 years at a time, otherwise everybody would be dead. But at least we have Xerneas to counter that. And I think that Yveltal is probably the funniest Pokemon to play with in Pokemon and Me because it's basically Doom Satan bird dragon thing. And we can feed it cupcakes. We're so powerful. Anyway, that is my top 20 most creepiest Pokédex entries. Be sure to put what Pokédex entry you think is the creepiest in the comments below, and don't forget to vote. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!